This remake doesn't walk, nor does it run. They should have hurled it straight into the fucking sun. No thanks, Disney. I will not be part of that world. The Little Mermaid 2023 was written and directed by Rob Marshall, who did Chicago, Memoirs of a Geisha, Pirates 4, At World's End. I was certainly at my wits' end watching that, but nevertheless, and also Mary Poppins Returns. 2 other people were required to write this, along with the director. It took 3 people to write a live-action version of The Little Mermaid, and both writers had something to do with Mary Poppins Returns. A lot of Mary Poppins Returns talk on this particular video. More talk than Mary Poppins Returns has had since Mary Poppins Returns came out in theaters. Now that I said Mary Poppins Returns so many goddamn times, it's lost all meaning. Let's get back to The Little Mermaid. This is a reimagining, a live-action version of, wait for it, sit down, you're not going to believe this, the Hans Christian Andersen story, and also, yes, the 1989 animated Disney classic. And yeah, Disney decided we're going to sink a reported $200 million into this. And I just want to get it right out of the way right now that if you're going to be one of those goddamn dumbasses that is going to come and get all upset because there was an African-American woman, a young woman, Halle Bailey, cast as Ariel, if you're just going to get upset because there's a black Little Mermaid, even though it's just a story about mermaids, mermen, and the surface world, and under the sea, man, I remember the animated adventure being better than this. Okay, that didn't exactly rhyme, but if you're just going to be racist, you're going to be one of those goddamn assholes that got all upset because they cast an African-American young lady. Fuck off. Seriously, fuck off. Fuck the hell off. You guys are goddamn idiots. There are more important things to worry about, like Disney sinking $200 million into this, and this is the best they could do. Disney apparently just is haphazardly deciding to release movies in theaters or on Disney Plus. I mean, they did a $150 million version of Pinocchio, directed by Robert Zemeckis, and starring Tom Hanks, Ewan McGregor, and there were many other people in that, and that was $150 million they just shoved out on Disney Plus. Now, that was probably a good thing, because that movie is absolute goddamn ass, but Turning Red and Soul were put out onto Disney Plus. I mean, Soul, I guess I sort of got because theaters weren't exactly, opening back up at that point. But Turning Red could have absolutely been out in theaters and probably would have done really goddamn well. And now we have this. We have this movie that basically just takes all the classic songs and puts a live action spin on it. And yes, I want to say right now that Halle Bailey can sing, and she has decent screen presence, and I hope that she continues to excel in Hollywood. She can sing. And now, as far as the rest of the movie, this is one of the worst live-action adaptations that Disney has done in a while, because it's just uninteresting, uninspired, and it's 2 hours and 15 pissing motherfucking minutes. The first one, bell to bell, until the end credits started rolling, was like 78 minutes, maybe 80 minutes at the most. It was bright and breezy and had energy. And this just had every bit of life wrung out of it like it was an old sponge. Like it was a towel that was just left out on the clothesline, assuming people still have clotheslines. Clothesline from hell! No. And it just had no life to it. Javier Bardem was King Triton. Javier Bardem was made boring in a movie. How dare you, Rob Marshall? How dare you, Disney? How dare you make Javier Bardem so goddamn uninteresting? Melissa McCarthy, who I am not really a big fan of, has been good in some stuff. She was Ursula. And my God, she was just freaking good. Goddamn right. She one of the most uninteresting villains they've done in a while. Good grief. David Diggs was Sebastian. Let's talk about Sebastian's look. The fact that it was some kind of attempt at a photorealistic crab with little googly eyes. It was like they took something from Attack of the Crab Monsters and just put little googly eyes on it. $200 million into this. Jacob Tremblay did Flounder. I've heard the name. I can't really recall right now. Flounder looked translucent, like he'd been floating in a river, in a toxic river, and been dead for 3 days. Awkwafina as Scuttle. Scuttle, voiced by Buddy Hackett in the previous one. Awkwafina has been good in a few other things. Let me just say right now that this rendition of Scuttle made me never want to see a bird ever again. Maybe I will just go duck hunt on any goddamn bird. No, I won't. I won't do that, because even though this made me hate the mere sight of seeing seagulls or any birds. Again, let's just be perfectly honest, it's still animated. It's still just a CGI seagull. Super annoying. Super goddamn annoying. Not to Awkwafina's strengths. Art Malik was in this. Art Malik, who has a great catalog of, films. Just look at his catalog of films. Jessica Alexander's in this, who was in A Banquet, which was a terrific movie. And she certainly is a bright actress. And again, I want to praise Halle Bailey's singing. And she embraced this role of Ariel, and there were parts that could have worked, but 2 hours and 15 minutes. If you don't know the story of The Little Mermaid, basically Ariel wants to be where the people are. She's fascinated by human beings, and we get a little more stuff fleshed out. Like, we get to see Ariel's sisters, and we actually get to hear more from them. What are their names? I don't know. Look it up on the goddamn IMDb, because there were so many names and so many references going on here that it was a little bit just too much to keep track of. Plus, the names really aren't that goddamn important because each sister cut like 3 goddamn lines. So let's talk about those songs. Because really, if you've not seen the 1989 animated Little Mermaid, please watch that before you watch this. Please watch it. The original songs are there. Part of that world, part of your world, whatever. Everybody has their own rendition. The guy who plays Prince Eric, I forgot to even mention him because he's so goddamn bland and uninteresting. And I mean as a character and likely as an actor. Jonah Hauer King. Rutger Hauer would have been better. And he, I don't really think, could have pulled off playing a prince here. But nevertheless, I'm sorry, but this was paralyzingly dull. Part of your world, part of that world, whatever. Under the Sea, and Halle Bailey, again, can sing. And there are parts where I'm like, okay, Rob Marshall seemed to come to life a little bit. Apparently he was in a coma doing most of this movie. And then, nope, we're just going to sink right back down and we're just going to make it uninteresting. I'm sorry. Sebastian's look, Flounder's look, Scuttle's look, it was all off-putting. It was incredibly off-fucking-putting. And also, I do want to say that they tried a few different twists as far as how Ursula, gives Ariel the spell to go to the surface world for 3 days and get the prince to kiss her. And then the kiss the girl part. Oh boy, let me just say right now, that kiss the girl part, that couldn't have looked more CGI and more stagey and more like if it actually involved, it didn't even seem like it involved real people. It seemed like they CGI'd Halle Bailey and Jonah Hauer King. It seemed like everybody was CGI. It seemed like an AI program may have written this movie. Hopefully not. Because I think even an AI program probably would have offed itself writing this. Because I hated this. I absolutely hated this. This was one of, again, the worst live-action adaptations I have seen in a while. So let's talk about that Ursula spell. She gives a different little twist where he's got to kiss you, but this is going to happen instead, and this is going to happen. And Melissa McCarthy cannot really sing. She can't. If she wasn't singing, whoever was singing for her can't really sing either. Really, Halle Bailey is the only one that can sing in this. There was a Scuttles song at one point that Awkwafina was doing where I actually said music was a mistake and I want everything to just evaporate. I just want everything to blow up into flames. I would have gladly welcomed being swallowed up into the earth rather than listen to that ever again. I don't know if this is coming across, but I didn't really like this movie. $200 million for this. $200 million. 200 goddamn million. The Cinderella animated movie was 75 minutes in 1950. The 2015 one was a beefy 112 minutes. The Lion King movie, it was like, 87, 90 minutes in 1994. 2019 version. Yes, Disney released 2 live-action adaptations in 2019. And Aladdin was the better of the 2. And I hated Aladdin. 118 minutes for The Lion King. Beauty and the Beast, by the way, i.e. pretty much the only halfway decent one. Well, Cinderella one was all right. But the Beauty and the Beast one with Emma Watson, that was fine. That was fine for what it was. It didn't need to be almost 2.5 goddamn hours. And then Aladdin, over 2 hours for the live action version, and then you have the 90-minute version in 1992, i.e. the good one. And that's unfortunate that I say that because the guy who played Aladdin did fine. They made Jafar a little bitch, though. Yeah, this is 135 minutes. And it was excruciating to get through. there were numerous times where I'm just like, I think the Disney executives have jumped the goddamn shark. They've jumped the goddamn shark here. Ariel and Eric, the characters of Ariel and Eric, because of the bad writing and everything, have all the chemistry of, oh, I don't know, two amoebas that have just recently lost their lives. They go together like peanut butter and cyanide. In fact, taking cyanide probably would have been more appropriate, and I would have felt a whole lot better than I would have watching the rest of this. Like, seriously, this is abysmal. This is goddamn abysmal. This was so bad. The design was so off-putting. The under-the-sea parts, it was either too goddamn dark or too goddamn light. Like, you can color correct this shit, and I don't mind making it to where, like, okay, the sun would not get that far down into the ocean where maybe it would be a little bit dark. That's okay. But then there were daytime scenes that it either seemed like the sun went nova, or just the sun starting to set, and suddenly it's like a goddamn, like, freaking eclipse is happening. It's never ending. The kiss the girl part, I cannot begin to describe just how bad it was, just how apocalyptically awful it was, and how bad the songs were. They were terrible. Even though Halle Bailey can sing, and she can, the songs were terrible. Uninspired. It's like everybody that wrote these songs were being held hostage against their will, or possibly, because they wanted to be, because maybe Disney executives were just like, no, you could go make this other live action remake, you could go make this better one over here, or you could go make, I don't know, you could go make all this other crap over here, or you can make this movie and you could get a whole lot of money. I mean, what am I really talking about? I don't goddamn know. I don't goddamn know anymore. I was broken. I was broken by this. God, this is terrible. This is terrible. No life to any aspect of this movie is what I noted. This is in theaters if you want to check it out. Again, if you're going to be horribly racist or even casually racist or whatever, just because Halle Bailey happens to be African American, fuck you. But as far as criticizing the movie and, justifiably criticizing the fact that it's absolute goddamn ass, yeah, it's terrible. It's goddamn terrible. In fact, I'm just crumpling my notes up now before I get to the goddamn spoilers section, which I will get to very, very quickly. It's in theaters. Check it out if you want to. So yeah, there you go. Wasted Javier Bardem and all that jazz. 1, 2, 3 spoilers. Okay, maybe I did the countdown wrong there, but let's talk about the extended parts of the story that they came up with. They had, Jonah Howard King playing Eric, and he's all adventurous, and he wants to help people out, and he wants to do great things and help the trade, the trade system work better for his island. And he was taken in apparently by his mother, the queen, and also Ursula is the aunt, well, the sister of Triton and everything, and she was cast out for being the sea witch. And let's talk about that difference in the spell and everything. Instead of, you have 3 days to make him kiss you, I take your voice. Oh, and also, she tells Flotsam and Jetsam, the eels, yeah, by the way, I did another thing where I wiped her memory, so she's not going to remember that she did that. And look, I don't expect a shot-for-shot remake. You can do different things, but why don't you just say, yeah, when she tries to go for him, her hand's going to fall asleep. Or maybe she's going to get a lazy eye. Or maybe her hair's going to fall out. And oh my God, Ariel, what's happening to you? Every time you confess your love, your hair falls out. I mean, you might as well have done shit like that and everything, because it's just lazy screenwriting at this point. Everything was just stretched out to the point that this movie was apocalyptically, agonizingly awful. It was just terrible. This was absolutely goddamn terrible. The part of your world, the part of your world, I guess that was okay. But even Javier Bardem, as Triton, frying all her stuff from the human world and everything. Okay, like, it worked in the animated one. It didn't work here. They felt like they were separate characters on completely separate planes of existence, like they were in different bodies of water in different universes. Nobody had any organic feel to it. Again, Eric and Ariel had no chemistry. None at all. And then there were extended parts where it's like, oh, she's in the human world, and they go to this tropical island part and everything where there's this, market, and then we get to the kiss the girl part. So Daveed Diggs, who is a very good actor, was completely wasted here. I felt like being completely wasted while watching this because I do not. I don't drink, but I almost felt like I needed to get through The Little Mermaid. I didn't have high expectations for this movie when I first saw the trailer because I'm like, okay, whatever. I mean, I figured they were probably going to do one at some point, but they put no effort in this. None. None. And I'm talking Disney. I'm sure the cast tried their best, and I give them credit for that, but it seemed like half the cast was sleepwalking. And then they switch it where they amped them up on something. Oh my god, we're just going to run and we're going to do this. There's this chariot chase scene thing that was supposed to be comedic. Nothing was funny. The character of Scuttle, I can't state enough, was goddamn awful. And any attempts to like recreate the lines from the original fell flat. And then the new songs, Eric did a song that was god awful. The Scuttle song was goddamn terrible. Ariel would have this narration singing, so her brain must have really loved that. I'm trying to sleep, bitch. Stop singing. And just from there, like we do get, we get Ursula being you know taking the the voice that Ariel had, possessing Eric. And in the animated one, there actually seemed like a bit of danger. In this one, it was almost completely glossed over. Like they just interfered during the wedding, the animals and everything. Ariel gets her voice back, and then the sun sets, and then they do the thing where Triton says, okay, here, have my trident and turn me into nothing. Turn me into, sacrifice me, whatever. Just save my daughter. Melissa McCarthy gets all big. There's a ship that gets up, and instead of Eric stabbing Ursula with it, this time it's Ariel, because Ariel says, I'm done with this sea witch. And then stabs her, and then that's it. And then Triton turns her into a human. And then they go off on an adventure. Like, there really isn't anything to spoil with this. It's so goddamn terrible. It is terrible. Again, Halle Bailey can sing. And Javier Bardem's a great actor. And some people like Melissa McCarthy. And David it wasted. Art Malik, who's Grimsby. Art Malik, who's talented. Vanessa Alexander, who is somebody that has a bright future. This was just a waste of resources and was completely unnecessary. God damn it, just fucking F. It's an F. How dare you, Disney? How fucking dare you? F. If this isn't top 10, it might be top 15 worst of the year. Again, don't fucking be racist about it. Hate the movie on its own merits, like the fact that it's really bad. Agree, disagree, what I said, like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Ritlin. I'll see you soon.